It didn't move when I stared at it. It didn't multiply while I panicked. It didn't respond to desperation alone. The oil sat still until I tipped the jar, until I gave what felt like not enough, until I stopped guarding what little I had and released it into his hands. I waited for abundance before I obeyed, waited for overflow before I trusted, waited for the storehouse instead of the simple step, but nothing moved until I did. The miracle didn't begin with more, it began with surrender. It began with trust so fragile it shook in my bones, but still moved my hands. There is a lie that says you need to have plenty before you can be generous, that you need to be strong before you step forward. But faith rarely works like that. The oil only pours when poured. It does not flow for the one who hides. It does not multiply for the one who hoards. It responds to empty vessels, to outstretched hands, to the sound of a door opening when the cupboard looks bare. I have stood in rooms where obedience felt foolish, where giving looked like bleeding, where I thought this will be the end of me, and I poured anyway, and it was never the end. It was the beginning of a story I could not have written without the reeds. We think we protect ourselves by saving what we have, but sometimes the saving becomes the ceiling, and what was meant to flow becomes stagnant. What was meant to heal others gathers dust in a bottle on a shelf called someday. There are miracles waiting behind closed fists. There is bread in the act of breaking. There is provision inside the act of pouring. And it doesn't come because we calculated right. It comes because we trusted while the math made no sense. I have learned that heaven values movement, not performance, but motion rooted in trust. When I held back, the oil stayed still, and I found new direction. Sometimes I poured into others while I felt empty. Sometimes I gave what I thought was the last drop, and yet the jar never dried, because He meets us in the motion. He meets us in the release. I used to wait for signs, now I wait for presence. I used to ask for reassurance, now I ask for courage, because the jar doesn't overflow until it's tilted, and I will not stand still while waiting for something that comes only in the pouring. I pour even when I don't understand. I pour even when it stretches me. I pour because what's in me was never meant to be stored. It was meant to be spent